like I said, like the easiest KPI is if you can get 3 or more appointments on average as a result of every job, you're always going to be growing.
I like this. I would say for anything, we say this all the time. If you're not implementing these things, it doesn't matter if you know these things.
Oh,
Like
I love that.
you can know, you can give away your
Implement.
entire program, Brad, and it still wouldn't be successful without your business because you guys help implement it and make sure it happens. You're forcing our hand and taking our time to do the things we're supposed to do. That's the value that you really bring. And any program, like you can talk about any program, if you can know all the things. Oh, I know that's supposed to work. Well, are you doing it very consistently, extremely consistently on every single job, on on everything
Is
you're
it
doing?
set up in a way to do it consistently?
Yes. And it's you just have to do the things. And you do give a framework, but you still, what you really do also help
We
with
do
is
it for you.
implementing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So our whole thing for anyone who's uh watching, like we have 3 main like things. We have a group mastermind where it's like a course, and then we have some like support calls, and then we have weekly trainings. So that's more the do it yourself, and then like you can still get some additional support. We have our done with you option, which is the same thing as the group mastermind, except you can book one-on-one calls with us whenever you want. And then what John and his team are going through is our done for you option. And we're doing all as much of the one-time work as we can. And we are project managing, not just the things being created, but we're project managing the actual implementation. And that's where we firmly believe, like within a few months, like we can help exponentially grow your monthly sales, because we're not just doing the one-time work of building it out. We're on you to make sure it's actually getting done. And we're helping you feed the whole process that we just talked about, because if leads are a problem, then we would rather try to exponentially grow 50 appointments than 5 appointments a month, so we do address the lead problem, but that's done second, which is not how I think anyone else does it right now.
Make sure you can capitalize on every lead and maximize your value, then worry about ramping up leads once you know that you can extract full value. That totally makes sense. We were talking about earlier, it's like this is a huge problem for like the 1 to 3, but then bigger companies too, it's the same thing. I think maybe with the bigger companies, it's just that they have more cash, so it's maybe a little bit more forgiving. They can get away with a little bit less capitalization, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't be much healthier, more profitable, faster growing businesses without this.
Yeah, there's still a lot of $10 million businesses that go under because of the same exact issue.
Same problem. Yeah.
There's I really do believe any roofing company would benefit from what we do. I am most like drawn to the ones that I think are making decisions based off of what they see all these other people who are at the 6 or 7 million range. And there's a couple things to note, and we all have seen the fall of a few. But one, in distribution, I got a dirty look at the credit and the credit lines and all of that of some of the biggest roofing companies in the country. Like ones you guys know, I got to snoop around.
Oh yeah, the tale as old as time. I mean,
doesn't look good. I'll tell you. SRS used to like have a massive budget a year. They're at this point $5 billion company, maybe more. Sorry, SRS, if it's more. Love you now. But yeah, probably more. They literally like millions a year. They just expected to write off in bad debt.
It's in their budget. It's in their freaking budget.
So
it's wild.
And like, so I'll tell you, like big companies, small companies, mid-sized companies, like it's rare to find someone that's actually paying their bills on time. So if you are, that's great. If you're not, you're really not alone. Like you should fix it, but don't like let anyone make you feel like you're just the worst, but fix it. because otherwise it's just going to be a pain in the butt for you. But all companies would benefit from this. I think it's a matter of neglecting your cost per acquisition and not understanding it mostly. Having bigger budget at 5, 6, 7 million, 10 million, you have more to spend. So the cost does not necessarily hurt you as much, because that same math I just gave of the 1,800 cost per acquisition, if you're spending 3,000 a month, if you're spending 15,000 a month in Google ads, then that 2,500 is dispersed among a lot more jobs. So you are in, like, your cost per acquisition does get under 1,000 at that point. Like, it's not as bad. And the $1 to $3 million companies just can't afford that. But in reality, anyone who's investing in Google ads right now, if they want that channel as like singularly that channel, not just your entire thing, but if you want that channel to be profitable, you better be spending 10,000 a month in ad spend or more. And if you don't want, if it's just a piece or a way to feed you cold leads, which is what I think it should be, not always, like, you should scale it when you want to scale it, but to start, then you just need to have this other stuff. It doesn't have to be my stuff. You can just think 3 appointments as a result of every job. Like, it can be that simple if you need it to be.
I love how you're doing it. It really feels like what you're doing here is the missing piece. It's that piece between the contractor and the agency, where it's like both sides are doing their best. Like, the agency is doing what the agency said they're going to do in most cases. Well, maybe not even most, but like ideally, yes,
more cases than people realize.
Yeah, they're doing their best. They're doing what they said. The contractors doing their best, doing what they said, for the most part. So, like, both sides have their failings, but in general, it's like, this really feels like what you're talking about here is the missing piece, where it's like, oh, if this was in place, and if these systems were in place to maximize the value of each lead, where you are getting, depending on your closer, I guess the way it works out with the numbers, assuming like a 30, maybe a 33% close rate, then you're going to get 2 jobs for every one. Is that basically how the numbers work out with